Hi everyone, I have decided to do some of these small pictures from Autumn, the Colouring Heaven Presents magazine. Now I did a flip through of this and one of the Agate page pictures, this one, and then I finished colouring this page. I was trying a really light colouring style, it was quite interesting, but anyway, that was that. But I thought we'd do a different illustrator today. This is Alexandra Dannenmann's page, or one of her pages. I rather like her style. I think I have coloured some of her pictures before in Colouring Heaven magazines, but I thought it would be interesting to have a go. Oops, let's get, so you can see it. There we go. Now this is obviously, now I don't know if this is one pumpkin or a pile of pumpkins. I don't think they grow like this, do they? I really am a bit naive when it comes to pumpkins, I don't really know. But what I'm going to do is we'll have a little play, see what we can do with it. I am going to start with my lightest orange. And I'm using my Castle Arts Gold today. I haven't used them for a while, thought I'd make a change. I don't know, I've got so much sun on my desk, it's not showing in shot anyway. It shouldn't really be coming in with my blind down. It's really sunny today. Not really sure why it's so sunny when we're forecast to have rain all day, but you know how it is, British weather and all that. My son went off to work and I thought it's going to get wet, and it didn't rain, and I said to my husband, can you get the bins back in, the bin men had been, because otherwise they're going to fill with water, because they always leave the lids open. But it still didn't rain, so and then the sun came out and the birds were singing. Little bird, I don't think it was that one. So that was interesting, not what I was expecting at all. So I'm not doing anything too special here. I am just putting down a base coat of orange to get me started, because I do like to have some intensity to a pumpkin. I don't always colour them with lots of intensity, but I think they look good with it, so that's what we're going to try today. Now I'm a little bit confused as to what all these lines are. We've got thicker lines and thinner lines, and I think what I'm going to do is ignore the thinner lines and just take notice of the thicker lines. That's what I'm going to do to start with anyway, because I'm not really sure quite. Ooh, that sun is reflecting in my eyes. That's better. I'll just move my blind a little bit. It probably won't make any difference to you, but it means I won't be have sun shining in my eye, which is nice. I do prefer not to have lots of sun in my eyes. I had it down, I was just downstairs. My son got up and we had a nice chat. He was, actually I'm not going to use that one quite yet. I'm going to go for one of the more browny oranges. Excuse me, the terracotta is great, that'll do nicely. Sharpen it. I think I'm going to use my Tegel sharpener with these, they're quite soft. Anyway, so he got up and so I went downstairs and had a coffee and we had a chat. And I said to him, I'm really going to miss this when you go back to uni. He said, you can still talk to me, Mum. You can talk to me on, you know, Discord where we message each other. I said, yeah, but you're in class. He said, oh, Mum, I only pay attention about 25% of the time. I said, what? I thought you were going to buckle down this year. He said, I am. But he said, not in class, at home, when I'm working on my assignments and things. Okay. He admitted to me that he's been cruising a bit, not working as hard as he thinks he could, but he's still getting really good marks. And yeah, I remember finding uni quite easy compared to A-levels and things like that. I can hear a noise outside. I couldn't work out what it was. It's a sort of scraping noise. I think what someone's doing is, I think they've got a spade and they're picking up leaves or something like that. Now that looks very odd, but I've sort of just marked out where I want to shape it. So here is our cadmium orange deep, which again I'm going to sharpen, and we're going to get these areas looking a little bit better. So yes, he's I remember finding uni quite, compared to A-levels, which is what you do before uni, I found it so easy. I found that like the subject I took, which was psychology, it was very hard to get a really high mark. And now I began to understand why. So I worked hard, I enjoyed it, had fun, and I got a 2-1, which is the sort of second, like a B. If the top mark's an A, a first, then it's like a B. So it was a pretty good mark, really. But what I realised later, when I did my master's degree, is that in order to get a first, an A, you had to write with really, really big words. That was the only way. It was nothing to do with your ability, to do with your results, your techniques, your experiments, anything like that. It was purely to do with how you wrote things up. I'm going back to my marigold now, and I'm going to finish this off. Potentially, I might. So that was, and I don't have that sort of style of writing. You know, I don't use big words, and I'm glad that I didn't learn to write like that, because I would never have got a job as a freelance writer if I was writing in that way. Because that's a sort of, I guess it's an academic way of writing, maybe, although I disagree with it, because I think that it should be, academic documents should be accessible to everybody. It shouldn't be that you need a dictionary while you're reading them. You know, I think that's wrong. But that's my personal opinion there. And I'm still finding this looking a bit odd because of all those lines. Anyway, we'll get there. What was I saying? Yes, so I'm glad I didn't change that style of writing, because as a freelance writer, you keep it simple. You want to make it understandable. Yes, you want a broad vocabulary so that you don't bore people, but you don't want to use every big word in the book, so that, you know, that's just showing off. It's just not. I'm going to use the Chinese orange a little bit. It's just not what I feel is necessary. And I don't, as I say, I think these papers should be accessible to everybody. You shouldn't open a journal or a book and think, well, those words are too big, I'm not going to understand this. I just think it's unfair. You know, I like writers who write for everybody to be able to understand. And some journals are written in that way and some aren't. So, and the more credible ones are written in the more poncy way. Right, moan over. I'm going to go do a bit more of that. I think that's helping. So anyway, but he's, I think he'll do really well. I don't think he's got anything to be concerned about, but I know he will have to put the work in though. You know, he knows that. He's not silly. And his brother will be at work this year, so he won't be doing any, so that's a bit better. I am going to put a lighter colour on. I want a sort of yellowy orange. The nearest, I think, is the cadmium yellow light. Looks like it might just work for me. I'm just going to lighten up the sort of edges and things. I know pumpkins aren't yellow, but it's just to burnish those bits that I want to be light. There we go. My washing machine is on. I don't know if you can hear it. Probably not. It's quite far away down in the kitchen, but I can hear it. And I needed to get some done. Now, a brush. Got a few bits on here. Now, what do you think these flowers are? I'm going to do the leaf on the top of the pumpkin, but I'm thinking about flowers while I'm doing it. I'm going to use the olive green. Got to find it. Where have I hidden it? There it is. Olive green. I'm going to sharpen it. I'm not going to do it all in olive green though. Do the base part in olive. Just sort of fade it a bit, and then I'm going to do the centre of the leaf in olive. Like that, sort of fade it a bit. And then I'll get a lighter shade. Yeah, it's going to have to be the cadmium green pale. Where are you? Cadmium green pale? There it is. It's in completely the wrong place. Who put these away? I don't know. And just put it over the top, bring it all together. These Castle Arts Gold seem to go down fairly well on this paper. I usually feel that hard pencils go down better, but these aren't particularly hard, but they seem to work. Now, I think these are sunflowers. Seems to be the right time of year. Although we're already seeing sunflowers in the shops and things. I'm going to use the cadmium yellow for the part of them. They actually look a bit like daffodils to me, but they can't be. It is an autumn book. So we'll do the base of the petals with this and then just fade it up a bit, and then I'll put a brighter one on the tip. In Autumn Harvest by Teresa Goodrich, she says she has a lot of chrysanthemums as harvest, as sort of autumnal flowers. It's interesting, I don't really associate them with autumn, I associate them with summer, but I don't know. Obviously wrong. Or maybe they're different in different places, but I wouldn't have expected to be that different. I'm trying to find the lemon yellow. I think that's the one I wanted. Yeah. Lemon yellow for the tips. But I'm going to go over the whole bit and then it'll just blend it together nicely. And go all the way around. These are quite simple, they're quite small, aren't they? It's nice. Now the centre of a sunflower, I usually just do them brown, but they aren't, are they? I'm just going to look one up on my phone. Just while I'm here, you know, on video. My phone doesn't want to play. There we go. Yeah, they are brown. Okay, yeah, they are brown. I'm not wrong. So let's go for browns. Let's see what we've got. I am thinking the walnut brown light might be a good start. Don't know where that is. There's the walnut brown. Where's the light? There it is, nearer the greys, weirdly. Walnut brown light. And I'm going to do all of it in a really light layer of this to start with. So I think this bit on the outside here, I don't want as dark, and then I'm going to make that centre bit darker, like that. Now, I wonder what, I think leaf colour. Maybe just a sort of permanent green I think might work. I think I'm just going to put down permanent green first and then see whether I want any darker shades. There we go. I can do the two stems while I've got a nice sharp pencil. There. Now on the leaf I'll just fade it down to the tip. And I'm trying to decide whether these little leaves down here are going to be the same colour or not. I might as well do them differently. I've got plenty of greens. There's no indication to imply they're supposed to be the same plant, is there? Let's do something quite dark. Let's do the juniper green for those. And it'll sort of just frame the bottom of our pumpkins a little bit better. There's our juniper green. Again, I'm going to fade it up a bit towards the tip. I can hear an aeroplane going over. It's a bit different to yesterday. Torrential rain at lunchtime. My son had his driving lesson in the morning, and he said his instructor had noticed that his confidence had increased because the instructor's been on holiday for 4 weeks, I think, 3 weeks, something like that. And he had a different instructor from the driving school in that time, and his instructor noticed his increase in confidence, which is really good. And he was practicing his hill starts, and he was a bit nervous about it, but I think he got on okay. I'm just trying to look for a grass colour down for this ground here. I'm going to use the leaf green light. I just want something pale, so I think this will work nicely. I mean, I don't know whether these dots, it's supposed to be dirt, but I think it's probably just more likely to be shadow. It's supposed to be shadow. There we go. Now a little bird on top. Now we could do a whole variety of colours, but I'm thinking with this colour scheme, a brown bird would just work because, you know, of all the colours. We're not going to go too dark though for all of it. We're going to start with the yellow ochre, which is quite, I think this should be called brown ochre, not yellow ochre, because it's like a light brown. So I'm going to do the bird, apart from its beak, all in this colour, and then I'm going to darken some areas, the eyes as well. Could go over the eyes. I'm going to do those in black, so it doesn't really matter. There he is. Now let's do those black eyes. Oops, clink. It's my ring on the tripod. This is the ivory black. They're really small. I was going to do something fancy, but there's nothing fancy can be done with something that small. I'm also going to grab that cadmium yellow light that we use for the sunflowers and do it for his beak. I know birds' beaks aren't all yellow, but it just looks cute and pretty. There we go. Right, now we're going to go for a darker brown. Let me look on my swatch chart. I'm thinking this... the walnut brown. No, the permanent brown deep, sorry. Dithering, and there we go, permanent brown deep. So I'm not going to press too hard. I just want his tummy to be a bit shadowed, so I'm just going to put a faint bit of darker brown on there, like that, so that it fades off into the colours there already. But for the tail, I'm actually going to make these bits quite dark, but leave those tips in the lighter colour, like that, and then we might just put a few darker streaks into the wing a bit, like that. Yeah, and then I'm going to go back to my ochre, yellow ochre, and just burnish it a little bit. See, that, and it will just help to spread that dark brown through a little bit through his body. Be careful not to spread the black into it. There we go. Now, I was having a think about these pens that I've got, and I was wondering whether to do some green dots under here where these black dots are. I might give it a go. I'm going to use this one, the fourth one along. I can't find my swatch chart, I've lost it. So I can't remember what this is called. But I'm going to put some dots down here. I just want to play with these pens a little bit. I've been colouring with them today, and I wasn't satisfied with the job I was doing with them really. But I think if I can just use them for things like little dots and bits and bobs, I think that would be quite nice. Now you could just do this with a pencil. Dotting with a pencil is quite difficult, but you could just colour over at these areas a bit with a pencil if you wanted to. Like that. And I think on the sunflower we could probably do with some dark brown dots. So this set here, the Maillard, I probably won't put the links to these in my description because I'm just sort of assuming really that you might not do it. I don't know why I'm assuming that. Use any gel pens you have. Now these are acrylic, so they tend not to go through the page and they sit on top of pencil quite nicely. But because this is a single-sided book, then as long as you've got something behind the page to make sure it doesn't actually go right through to the page behind, then you can find that it's going to work okay. Now I'm just in two minds as to whether to burnish the tips of these leaves, and I think I'm going to. So I'm going to use the leaf green light on these, so the tips are light, but we can't see so much paper through them. And then these ones down here, I think I'm going to have to use the castle green light. There it is. It's a really long pencil. Obviously I don't use it very much. And that one. There we go. So there, I think I am happy now, so I'm going to leave it there. Yeah. So thank you very much for watching. Hope that you have a super day, and I shall do another one from this page tomorrow. So thank you for watching and happy colouring.